104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Bills, a pretty tough matchup this week against the Steelers. Tough loss last week against the Raiders. We go to Joe Busaglia from WKBW to get into this game and get ready for it. What do the Bills have to do in your mind to shake off that Raiders loss and compete and maybe even beat a Pittsburgh Steelers team?
Honestly, I think a big stop early on of the high-powered Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown-led offense, I think that would do wonders for the defense that really failed them in the second half of that game. And then also the passing offense getting on track. I think if those two things were to happen, which will be tough considering the fact that their passing attack really hasn't gone all that well this year and how it basically disappeared in Oakland, and they're going up against a Pittsburgh defense that has been playing better as of late. I think having those couple of things happen early on in the game will help them shake off the rust a little bit and have them go sit there and go, okay, well, this is a huge game. We're in it. We're close with this team, and then go from there. But it's going to be a tough challenge for sure because that's a good team.
Well, you bring up the passing offense. I know that I keep seeing more and more the looming decision on when they're going to commit to that $30+ million for Tyrod Taylor. What are you hearing? Is Tyrod the quarterback of the future still, or is he on his way out?
Honestly, I think it's to be determined. And this game, and not to get too overly dramatic, because I think sometimes sports media gets a little bit too dramatic,
which makes it fun.
Right, exactly. But I honestly think that this game is going to carry a lot of weight into that potential decision. You know, you look at all of the different things. I mean, Tyrod, you watch him play, and you see these flashes of greatness, whether it's a deep ball straight to Sammy Watkins that's perfectly in line, or escaping the pressure and finding yards for a first down that he had no business of getting because he was able to spin out of a tackle. These are the great things about Taylor and what he's able to do on the field. But then you look at the downside of it, and that was very much on display in Oakland down the stretch, in the fact that after the first quarter, the guy went 4 of 15 for 30 yards over the next 38 minutes, which is horrid. So what they need to see is him show a little bit more in the passing offense. And I don't know if they're going to see it, but what they need is for him to stay in the pocket a little bit longer, to see receivers down the field, to throw with anticipation, to throw an accurate ball in the intermediate areas, because those are things that have been lacking with him. So if he can do that, or on the flip side, if he can help get this team to a victory and not have to rely on the defense like they have been through the majority of the season, of their wins anyway, then he has a compelling case to be brought back. But if they flop in this game and the passing offense can't move the ball, that in a huge spot at home against a team that's also gunning for the playoffs, then the Bills are going to have to think long and hard about whether or not this guy is not only the future, but the immediate future.
Well, at least this week, one thing that would help out Tyrod Taylor is some wide receivers on the outside. 2 guys have returned to practice today.
Yeah, well, Sammy Watkins got back on the field. He took a rest day on Wednesday. It seemed to be the way that they kind of thought it was going to go. They didn't want to go out on a limb and say, hey, you know what, he's not practicing today, but we think he's going to be able to play. They're just taking a wait-and-see mode with him because the foot at this point is volatile, so they don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. But it seems like as long as there's no setbacks, he should be fine to play on Sunday. And then Robert Woods got back for a second straight practice today, still supporting a little bit of a wrap on his knee, but seems like he's doing all the things during positional work. He's trending in the right direction. They still haven't given us a firm answer on whether or not he'll play, but this could be the first week that Taylor has had both Sammy Watkins and Robert Woods in the lineup since week 2.
Joe Busaglia with us right now. He covers the Bills for WKBW. The other side of the ball, the soap opera that is Marcell Dareus. What's going on with him right now? How is he holding up, and what's the deal with him all the way around?
I think Dareus, since he's gotten back on the field and is healthy, I mean, we're seeing him be the player that we've always known him to be. I mean, over the 4 games he has been able to play, he has been borderline dominant. And I understand people thinking, oh, well, they got run over by Oakland down the stretch there. Yeah, but a lot of that was not to his doing. A lot of it was the linebackers getting covered up and them running away from Marcel Darius, and he's still holding the point of attack and holding two defenders at times, but the rest of the defense has kind of failed them a little bit because they're paying him more attention, as they should. I think the reason why they keep giving this guy the chances that they do is because he is so special on the football field. I mean, in those 4 games, he is already near the top of the best performers of the season for the Bills, at least in my book, because that's just how good he has been. So that's why they keep giving him chances. I don't know how many more chances he has, but as long as he kind of keeps his nose clean here and doesn't incur another suspension, I think the Bills are more than happy to keep trotting him out on the field. And the injuries were unfortunate and they were poorly timed, but injuries are going to happen, especially when you're coming from that much of a layoff to where you're trying to go on a 330-pound body.
You've touched on how big of a game this is for the Bills this season. They're 6-6 right now. They win out. They're 10-6. Is 10-6 going to even be enough to get in the playoffs? Could they get in at 9-7? Where do the Bills sit right now when you look at the scope involved in the AFC overall?
Yeah, they're probably going to have to win out, and even that might not be enough because Denver's sitting there at 8-4 right now, and that is 2 games ahead of them. They're still ahead of them. The Bills still have Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Miami all in front of them, even before they get to Denver. So I would assume they need to win out here, hope that Denver just blows it, and then go from there. But it's going to be a daunting task because this Pittsburgh game is going to test them. Pittsburgh is playing very well after what they just did last week, and they are one of the more explosive offenses. And going up against a secondary that has given up as many yards because of the safeties that the Bills have, that is a scary predicament for them going up against Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. So this game, along with a couple of other games, the Miami game of week 6 or 7, I can't remember which, and Oakland of last week, along with this upcoming Pittsburgh one, those will be the ones that define their season as to whether or not they're actually going to be in this thing.
Joe Busaglia from WKBW, WKBW.com on 104.5 The Team right now. So, Joe, when you look at this team, is there any kind of outcome that means Rex isn't the coach next year?
I think he's probably good unless they drop all 4, including surrendering the first victory to the Cleveland Browns. I think that would be an all-time embarrassment, just because they are a much more talented team. They would be at home, and that game is not this weekend, but the next weekend. So, as long as if they finish the year going 8-8, 9-7, he's fine. Probably 7-9, he's good. But if they go 6-10 and lose to those Browns, and the Browns haven't beat the Bengals this upcoming week, then that's the only situation I could see him being gone. But the NFL is a funny thing, so you can't really rule out anything because owners will change their minds or find out somebody's out there that they might really want. But so I wouldn't rule out anything, but I think Rex will probably be back next year.
We'll get you out of here on this. Let's get a final score prediction for this weekend's matchup between the Bills and Steelers.
Ooh, score! I don't know about score. I don't even do score for my website, man. I'll give you a prediction. I'll say the Steelers beat the Bills, and I think they're just a little bit too much to handle on the offensive side of things, and I don't know that the Bills' passing attack has enough to keep up with the Steelers. So I'm going to take the Steelers over the Bills, which would probably end all of their playoffs.
Joe Busaglia, WKBW. He's sometimes a little harsh, but always fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to be with this team. I mean, you just got to be a realist, and as long as they're doing good, say that they're doing good. If they're not playing well, then they deserve the criticism.
Joe Busaglia, man, we appreciate you. Thanks for making the time.
All right, thanks, guys.